Hey guys, what's up everybody? Welcome and welcome back again to another video tutorial from the Apex Academy of Mathematics. We are learning the language of the universe begins here. My name is Akeem, otherwise known as Apex Selenium, and on this channel we break down your fundamentals, we rebuild you as a student, and we unlock that genius that lies within you. Now in this video tutorial, this is another fundamental video, but it is part 2 of addition and subtraction of integers. I did indeed make a part 1 video where I explained the fundamental principles. In fact, I actually did 2 videos, 1 explaining the concept and 2 working some very basic examples. But in this video, which is basically part 3, is where I'm going to be teaching you another concept, another idea in which you can look at the addition and subtraction of integers, and this principle is what we call the O and have technique, or the O and have principle. All right, now this is for students mainly having problems calculating and having sign problems, when to put what sign where and how to calculate. And most of the time when students do not know this principle or this concept, they tend to resort to the calculator for very basic fundamental questions like these. And when I say very basic, I'm referring to questions like, of course, those as you can see on the screen right now. All right, when you have to resort to your calculator to help you with stuff like this, it means your fundamental is weak and you need to work on it. All right, so we're going to be looking at what is the O and have principle and how we can use this to our advantage. So if you are ready, please stay tuned, watch this video to its entirety to get full value from the content being shown here to you on this video. And if you have friends, family or relatives, anyone anywhere across the world wanting to get rid of their fear in math, this is a channel for them. Please, of course, drop a like on the video, smash the subscribe button below, and of course turn on your notification bell. Okay, all right, so I've done a introduction, right, of about 2 minutes or so. So without any further rambling, let's jump right into content. So as I said before, is that we're going to be talking about the addition and subtraction of integers and the O and have principle. But first, what we're going to talk about is what's a negative number and how do we look at negative numbers. Now, a negative number is considered as something that is owed. Yes, something that is owed. When you owe somebody maybe some money, all right, maybe a large amount of money or a small amount of money, but once you see a negative number, it means that you owe someone. That someone could be your father, mother, friend. It could even be that you owe a neighbor, but the mere fact is that you owe. So for example, -6 here means I owe you $6, or I owe you 6 sweets, or I owe you 6 mangoes. But negative means you owe. And a positive number is considered as something that you have or you possess. It's something that belongs to you. So for example, the number 12 means I have $12, or you may see +12, it means I have $12, or I have 12 sweets, or I have 12 mangoes, but it belongs to you, you possess it. Okay, so negative is what you owe, positive is what you have. All right, and that explains this information here written in black. All right, now with that said, let's look at this part written here in pink. At all times, remember to pay all of what you have, whether it is enough or not, which will either leave you with a deficit, which is going to be negative, or to leave you with a surplus, which is positive. So have you ever considered the fact that you may be owing someone a certain amount of money, but you don't have enough to pay that person? It means that if you give that person what you have, you're still going to owe them. However, there are cases where what you owe you may have more than what you owe. And so, of course, when you pay what you owe, you're going to have some surplus left over. All right? Hope you understand that. But at all times, it doesn't matter if you have enough or you have a surplus. Always pay what you have or always pay what you owe. And then you can decide if there's a deficit or there's a surplus. All right? So hopefully you got that part, guys. All right, let's look at this part here now, written in black. Now, if you owe more than what you have, there will be a deficit. Self-explanatory. If you owe, say for example, your mother $10, but you only have $5. If you pay the $5 that you have, then you're still going to owe your mother $5. Correct? All right, good. But if you have more than what you owe, there'll be a surplus. But if you owe your mother $5 and you have $10, you're able to pay her all of what you owe her, then of course you're going to have surplus left over. All right, so that explains this part. All right, good. Now, mastering your ability to calculate integers using this or another technique which is useful to you is vitally important to subsequent topics that requires speed and precision. Less use of the calculator for fundamental concepts like this one is a groundbreaker for potential math geniuses and advanced students. You are going to find that a lot of the math that you do up in the higher level is as a result of you not knowing or knowing these very basic fundamental principles. All right, and do not feel guilty or do not feel bad if it is that you're watching a video like this, because I started learning this technique when I was 21, and of course I could not believe how easy this was for all the years I've struggled with math, and now I have to pass this on to you. All right, so let's master your ability. Okay, let's jump into some examples and see how best we can apply this concept of owe and have technique. Now, in the description below, there is a video that I've posted, a link to a video that I've posted that is on my channel. Do check that out. When I'm working these questions, I use a different technique, and I also showed you that it is good to associate your numbers correctly. Okay, and when we're associating numbers, we associate them into groups of 2. So first I want to put these numbers to groups of 2. Okay, and I'm using lines. I'm not using brackets, I'm using lines. Now, what I want you to also recognize is that you need to make sure that you pay attention to the signs that are in front of the number, because when you're associating, you do not want to associate and leave off a sign. For example, if I were to use brackets, a common mistake by students is that when they're associating, they put a bracket in front of the 3 here, and they automatically turn that 3 from what it was to something else. Now, before the bracket was there, that number was a -3, but by putting the bracket there, you've associated incorrectly and you've left out the sign, so you've turned that -3 into a +3, which will change the end result of what is inside this bracket here. So I rather use lines and pay attention to the signs that are in front of my number. Okay, so I want to pay attention to the -3 here. All right, now sometimes when you're grouping numbers into 2s, you tend to have this one odd guy left out. Then that odd person will be brought down until that person can, or that number can find a pair. Okay, let's jump right into the question. So here we have 9 minus 3, 7 minus 1, -3 minus 12. To work this out, we're going to do it in groups of 2. So this is a +9, this is a -3. Positive means I have, negative means I owe. So if I have 9 and I owe 3, I have to pay what I owe. So I owe 3, and clearly I have more than what I owe. So I pay what I owe, and I'm going to have 6 left over. Okay, here I have a +7, which means that I have 7, or I possess 7, but I owe 1. So I have more than what I owe. I'm going to pay what I owe, and I'm going to have 6 left over. So I put a plus because I have left over, +6. Here I owe 3, okay, and I owe another 12. So if I owe John $3 and I owe Mary $12, then it means I will owe John and Mary $15. So a lot of students will make the mistake and they will say negative and negative equal positive. Now, I made reference to this in my previous video as it relates to multiplication and division of integers, where negative times negative is equal to a positive. There is no indication here of a multiplication sign, so you cannot get a end result being positive. The answer will still be negative because I'm basically adding up my negatives. So this is negative 15. Hopefully you got that, guys. So I owe John 3, owe Mary 12, I owe John and Mary 15 because I still owe them. It's negative. Okay, I'm gonna put a pair here, and this is the odd guy that's left out right here, so he has to wait right down here. And of course I have 6, I have 6 more, I have 12. Okay, and then of course in this line now I have 12, it's positive, and I owe 15. In this example I have less than what I owe, so at the end of the day I'm still going to owe something. How much am I going to owe? Yes, that's correct, you're going to owe 3. All right, so hopefully that first example explains to you how the concept is used. Let's try another example, see if we can apply the step and run through the other 3 questions. So pairs of 2 here, here, and we have an odd guy left out, so he has to wait for a pair down here. Okay, so here negative 12, I owe 12. Here I have 4. In this scenario I owe more than what I have, but I'm still going to pay what I have. I only have 4, I'm going to pay the 4 that I have, but naturally I'm going to still owe some money or owe something, so I'm going to owe 8. Now do not rush to put down a sign right here. Do not quickly write down this minus because we do not know what the outcome of this combination is. So sometimes it will be a minus, sometimes it will change to a plus. So do not be hasty in writing down a sign. Think about the situation first. So here I owe 6, I owe 6, and here I owe 17, I owe 17. So if I owe 6 and I owe 17, how much do I owe in all? I actually owe 23. Okay, I actually owe 23. So if I owe 23, then of course I'm going to just add that 23 that brought down. Okay, now an easy way to work out this problem here is to identify the additive inverse identity. All right, I'm not sure if you can see it, but when a number, all right, naturally I would want to group these two, all right, which will still get me to my end result. But what I recognize here with my ability of practicing is that I recognize this part here. I'm adding a negative number to its opposite. This here is called the additive inverse identity. All right, and if I see that, then I know that this answer here is 0. So minus 8 minus 0, and that's equal to minus 8. All right, but not everybody will see the additive inverse identity, because what I want you to do here is to stick to a principle until your fundamental is sounded. So I would not advise that at that stage. I would still expect you to group into 2's from left to right. So here, minus 8 minus 23, I'm going to simply owe minus 31. Okay, minus 31. All right, plus 23. All right, and so you can see here that I owe 31 and I have 23, so I'm still going to owe 8. So I got the same answer here for my end result. all right, for my calculation here. So whatever way you choose to do it is entirely up to you, all right, and it's entirely dependent on how sound your fundamental is. Okay, all right, let's jump right into the remaining questions. So here I have, okay, I have minus 11 here and here, and I have this here, and I have this odd guy left off right here. Okay, good. So now what I have here is I owe 11 and I owe 7. So if I owe 11 and I owe 7, at the end of the day I'm going to owe 18. Okay, for this part here I have 5 and I owe 17. So if I have only $5 and I owe my brother $17 and I pay him the 5 that I have, I'm not going to owe him 17 anymore. I'm not going to owe him less because I've paid a part of what I owe. So I'm going to owe him $12. Okay, and for this part here I have 30 and I owe only 4. So pay the 4 that I owe and I'm still going to have 26 left over. And then I'm going to bring that odd guy down, plus 3. Okay, I'm going to put it into pairs of 2 here, here, and here. Okay, so I owe 18 and I owe 12. So I owe 2 persons money. So I'm going to add up what I owe. And because I still owe, it's negative. And 18 plus 12 is 30. Please be reminded, this is not negative, negative, or negative times negative, or negative and negative. There is no indication of a multiplication sign, so the result will still remain as being negative. Please do check out that video for concepts like that. Okay, and then I have 26 and I have 3 more, so I now still have 29 right here. And of course I owe 30, I have 29. I don't have quite as much, but I'm going to pay what I have, and I'm still going to be balancing or having a deficit of 1, okay, which is -1. All right, hopefully you guys are understanding so far. If you are, of course, hit the like button right now if you're understanding the content and you have finally conquered one part of your math that has been troubling you for many years, or even most recently. All right, so here we have this number and these 2 here and these 2 here. So I have 15 and I owe 19. Have 15, owe 19. It's negative, I owe 19. Pay what I have. Don't have enough, but I'm still going to pay. So I still end up owing less than what I owe before. So I now owe 4. Over here, pay attention to this minus sign. It belongs to the negative, it belongs to the 12. So I owe 12 and I have 8. Again, I do not have enough, but I'm going to pay what I have. I'm going to pay the 8 and I'm still going to still owe 4. Okay, all right, good. And then here what I have now is that I owe 1 and I have 23. Now I have more than what I owe, so I'm going to pay the only one that I owe, and I'm going to still have 22 left. Please be careful not to do what you feel is right, but it's important you apply the principle, because I've seen cases where after I've taught this content, students still go ahead and say 1 plus 23 is negative 24, and that is groundbreaking, very bad habit that is hard to break, but it's breakable. So please make sure that you practice very well. All right, good. So now what we have here is negative 4. So I only have a pair here and I have to leave this odd guy here. So I owe 4 and I owe 4 more, so I end up owing 8 here. I owe 8 plus 22. Now I basically have way more than what I owe, so I'm just going to pay what I owe here. I'm going to pay the 8 that I owe, and of course 22. So when I pay the 8 that I owe, I'm still going to have some left over, less than what I had initially, but I'm still going to have positive 16. Or is that correct? No, that's actually positive 14. Okay, and for my final example, guys, all right, here these two and these two and these two and this other guy here. All right, so here I owe 5, I owe 4, that means I will owe 9. Over here I have 9 and I owe 3. I pay the 3 that I owe. I'm still going to have 6 left over. Over here I have 11 plus 11, so I have it, and I owe 12. I owe a little bit more than what I have, but I can still pay what I have, so I'm still going to owe 1. Notice here that the plus sign that was here disappears, and there's a minus sign. Hence why I said earlier in one of these examples above that do not be quick to write down the sign that comes next. Work out the situation or the scenario, then you're going to know what sign comes next. And then I'm going to bring this odd guy down, plus 2 here. Alright, then these two pair and these two pair. So I owe 9 here. I owe 9 and I have 6. I pay what I have. I only have 6. I'm going to pay it. So I'm going to owe 3. I'm going to owe 3. Alright, minus. Alright, so here's the mistake I just made. See, I quickly made that error and I wrote down the minus here. That tends to happen when you lose focus. So you need to erase that minus and work out the scenario. The scenario here is that I owe 1 and I have 2. I'm going to pay the 1 that I owe. I'm still going to have something left over. So I'm going to have 1. So you see how close you can get to your answer, and then one error will make you get it incorrect. Alright, and then finally I owe 3, and of course I have 1. Pay what I have. I'm still going to owe 2. Alright guys. Alright, so that brings us to the end of this video tutorial. Explain to you the concept of owe and have technique. I'm not sure which one is better, whether it be the textbook definition for addition and subtraction of integers or the owe and have technique. You choose which one is better for you. And as long as you have mastered your fundamentals and you have rebuilt yourself, then you're on your way to unlocking that genius that lies within you. Alright, do take care. My name is Akeen, and I'll see you next time in another video tutorial. Goodbye.